god. Was that
Round of
planned
applause.
or was that...
I will never tell my secrets to you or the audience.
Okay, that's fine.
I will tell you, Kayla. I did not know that was happening.
This is Drop In, Drop Out, the weekly podcast where a mix of 7 gamers come together for an open and engaging conversation all about video games. And folks, we have a video game exclusive. We have a member of Team Cherry here on the pod to talk about Silksong. Hornet, thank you for joining the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm here to talk about the biggest game release of the week. Everybody's Golf Hot Shots.
And what do you think about Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, Hornet?
It sure was worth the 8-year wait.
Hornet, thank you so much for joining the show. You know, all of us, well, not all of us, Kayla's not been playing, but myself and Cog and so many people have been playing your game. Do you have any statement that you'd like to share with the fans about your game and, you know, maybe your developer team or anything of the like that you'd like to say?
I'd like to remind everybody that if you have any issues with the game, despite what the credits would say, this was created by 3 people and 3 people only, which is an excuse for everything that you may come up with. Outside of that, I've got nothing.
Alrighty.
That's good to know. Good to know.
This, first of all, I think a lot of people are, I think, surprised that there's not been any sort of an official statement from Hornet. So I think I speak for the greater video game industry at large when I say thank you for your bravery, for your tenacity, for your vulnerability, Hornet. Would you like to stick around and talk about your game, or do you have other things to do?
I can talk a bit about my experience with my own game.
Yeah, what do you think? Tell us what you think about Hollow Knight Silksong, Hornet.
I booted up that Hollow Knight Silksong today for a good hour 15. Beat the first boss, first try.
Wow.
Jumped around. You'll never guess what it felt like.
You know, I don't have a guess. Tell me.
It felt a lot like Hollow Knight, in fact.
Sure.
In fact, you might even say it felt like it could have been Hollow Knight DLC.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your playtime, or not your playtime, your play experience so far, Hornet. Any final words?
No. Team Cherry forever. Silksong #1. Cognitive clips.
I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. I'm a pretty big fan. Can we get one before you go?
Very good. Thank you.
Said the thing.
Thank you, Hornet.
Thank you,
so
Hornet.
much. We will be in touch with an invoice for your time tonight.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe.
Oh my god. Was that
Round of
planned or
applause.
was that...
I will never tell my secrets to you or the audience.
Okay, that's fine.
I will tell you, Kayla. I did not know that was happening.
Amazing,
It wasn't
incredible.
planned.
Celebrity. The chat is here for our special guest.
Very, very special. As you might have already sussed if you're listening or watching. I guess if you're listening, we weren't super clear. Jake just joined dressed as Hornet from Hollow Knight Silksong in case that...
That wasn't Jake.
Excuse me. That's great. We have a first-time chatter from Silksong Shutted Down Steam. It says, hello, you beautiful people, and Patrick. As you might have realized, we are here to talk about Hollow Knight Silksong. However, at Drop In, Drop Out, we like to have a larger conversation. So we're also going to be talking about our game of the year so far. Could it be Hollow Knight Silksong based on 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 hours of gameplay so far? Who's to say? But we are going to dive into that tonight. I'm your host, Patrick. Joining me, my #1 member of Drop In, Drop Out, Kayla. Kayla, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling warmed up from our pre-show, which if you are listening after the fact, you should definitely tune in live for our pre-show where we have the most fun. Not to exclude anyone that's currently here, but it's a good time. And I'm feeling very excited to talk about GOTY later.
I know.
And interview you guys about Silksong.
Whoa,
Yes.
I love it. Also joining my second favorite member of Drop In, Drop Out Pod, Jordan, aka Cognitive Clips. Jordan, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Excited to be here. Like I said, in the pre-show. Sorry, I don't want to exclude again. But yeah, I've been little under the weather for like a month now, so I was very sad to miss out on the Sword of the Sea conversation a couple weeks ago. But we're here tonight. We're bouncing back a little bit. I'll be muting myself and coughing all night, but we're here. You know, that's what's. I make that face every time too.
I'm so glad that you feel well enough to be on content and to talk about your favorite genre. I think it's safe to say a Metroidvania.
Yeah, that's fair.
Folks, keep us honest. I forgot to ask this during the pre-show that we've now brought up 3 times. Audio-wise, are we all good? Do we all sound good? Is the mix good? While I ask you that and we continue to discuss, I want to do some very, very quick housekeeping. For those of you that weren't here yesterday live in the chat, we did a review and spoiler cast of Mafia: The Old Country with friends of the show Gianni and Shay Noel. And if I do say so myself, a fantastic episode unpacking what some people are saying is a video game that came out this year. In addition to that, I was going to say a game of the year contender, but it's not. It's very simply not.
No.
Also, I've already seen some people claiming this in the chat. We are always one step closer to the Hot Dog Jamboree, which, if you don't know, the Hot Dog Jamboree is going to be a community night that we do here on twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod, where we play Fall Guys. We eat some dogs. Maybe one or multiple of us will be dressed as a hot dog, but we are very excited. You can use your channel points for that. And if you're listening to this later, be like some of our favorite people in the world. Join us over on twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod when we record every Thursday night right here around 8 p.m.-ish. Tonight, 8:30, but usually around 8. But we got Noah in the chat. We got Sirius. We got High Score Weekly. We got my arch nemesis, Rabbit128. I saw the Dumpster Boy in there. Jake Twitchin was in there, so it must not have been Jake on the podcast because he was in the chat. We have all sorts of our sweet Ryan Selvey. We have all sorts of homies in the chat. But without further ado, we've been yapping, and I think it's time to dive into the show and talk about Hollow Knight Silksong. Our initial impressions. This game only came out earlier today, so we've only put some time into it, but we're going to give some overall thoughts so far, the time we've put into it, what we think, what's working, what's not, etc. And just to set the stage, Kayla, you did not have a chance to play Silksong, correct?
Correct. And I actually did not play the first game. So I do have some questions as someone who has been interested in the game overall. Like it's a style, it's a genre, if you will, that appeals to me that I'm not super familiar with, but I would love to learn more about it and see if it's worth picking the first one up. So I will be asking some interviews.
Okay. We love to hear it.
Throughout the pod. Yes.
Jordan, as I've already alluded to, this is your favorite genre. I think it's safe to assume that you have played the original Hollow Knights.
I did, yes.
Did you finish it?
I did. I went back at some point, and I don't think I played it like a whole second time. I think I just kind of went back, like looked up some guides to how to get to like the true ending. Got to that boss, but never could beat that boss. So
sure.
Yeah, and I think there was some of the DLC stuff that never got through because some of that stuff was like extremely difficult, and I have limits. So
sure.
But yeah, to answer the actual question you asked me, yes, I did play the original and beat it.
Nice. Yeah, if you're in our Discord, which you can join by going to dropindropoutpod.com, I shared earlier that I mean, so many times I've tried to play the original Hollow Knight, and I put the most time into it that I had ever gotten earlier this year, but it was after all the tree stuff. So I forgot, through trauma, what I even played. But there were certain things that I was crashing out about that I'm going to crash out about here on the podcast probably too, that
I'm so excited for this.
I must have fucking experienced and I just forgot because it's like, I'm so fucking pissed. But so I never finished the first one. I probably only put 3-ish hours in the first one, so I really didn't get very far. And then today I've played about an hour. I finished the first boss and put in another like 10 minutes. So not super far. How much time did you get to play today, Cog?
It was I checked right before we went to the pre-show. It was like just shy of 2 hours on the game clock. The Xbox app says like 3, but I think I just had the menu open while I was eating Zaxby's. So you know how it is.
Well, what'd you order?
Zaxby's.
I love the Big Zack snack meal. Sure. It's classic. Get the three fingers, the fries, and the toast.
Yeah.
The spicy Zack sauce, a little chocolate milkshake.
Oh, you love a milkshake. If there's one thing I know about
love a
Kage,
milkshake.
he's a little milkshake slut. I love it.
Milkshake Vania.
Yeah, a quick
Yeah,
tangent because
something.
this
Is
has
that something?
inspired me. Have either of you ever
Yes.
had an establishment called Huey Magoo's? Are you familiar with
No.
this?
No.
I think
sounds
I'm
like a
remembering
cartoon.
this correctly. We were in South Georgia
Huey
over the
Magoo's.
weekend, and on our way back, we came across a place called Huey Magoo's. I think I'm remembering it correctly, but it is an absurd name. But it's like Zaxby's, and put away your pitchforks, better. It's like Noah says he blew Huey Magoo behind a Waffle House one time, but it's very much like it's the fried chicken is all over it. You got fried chicken fingers as a sandwich. You got them as a meal. You got all sorts of fried chicken things, but very shockingly surprised at how good Huey Magoo's is. So if you see that out there in the wild, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. But Cog, I can't let us get too far off track talking about a restaurant chain I might have made up. What do you think about Hollow Knight Silksong so far?
I really enjoyed it. Hornet wasn't wrong that to some degree it does feel like more Hollow Knight, but every sequel kind of feels like the game before it. That's kind of how sequels work, so I'm not mad about that. I do think that Hornet's movement and like combat style and stuff is different enough from the original one, just because she is like quicker movement, quicker attacks, and like her little like diagonal, kind of thing going on. So yeah, I mean, so far I'm really enjoying it. Really, the art style from the original carries over really well. It looks even prettier, I think, than the first one. You can love or hate the game itself, but you can't say it's ugly. Like, well, that's what I'm going to declare right here, right now.
Yeah, sure. Is there a known name for the art style of this? Like, is this like a Baroque art style? It's not, but like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, is there like a certain word that we would attribute to the style of art of the art direction for Hollow Knight? Do we know at all? Is there a word out there that we all like
I can look it up.
the Reddit
it is a very
fans
specific
use?
style because I know exactly what you're saying. It's almost like the foreground and the background have like a stark, like kind of contrast.
A little bit, yeah. And then it's very
What's
like bone forward. I don't know if that's a thing. Because here's what I'll say, Cog. And I want to be so clear before I say anything tonight about this game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want what I say to come across as you can't like this game. You can't be happy to like this game. I want to be clear that I'm not here to suck anyone's joy. I'm just here to suck their dicks, Jordan. No, I don't think like people can like things, people can hate things. So I want to be clear that I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. I think this game is ugly. I think like I don't like the art style of this game. I think Hornet is a cool design. Like I like the design of certain characters, but this like bone aesthetic, I just don't vibe with it. It doesn't work for me. It's like I don't, and I think that was one of the reasons I stopped Hollow Knight, other than I just wasn't having fun, is I didn't enjoy looking at the game. It felt very dark, but not like in a interesting way to me. Obviously you disagree because you just said no one can say that it's ugly.
Yeah, which clearly I was proven wrong instantly in the chat and then by you. So, as we talked about it a minute ago, we believe in science here. Part of science is that if you have a hypothesis and it's proven wrong, then you just, you form a new hypothesis. So it seems that some people can say it's ugly, and that's okay. That's all right.
Here's what because I don't want to just say full stop, it's ugly. I mean, I did already say I like some things about it, but I do really like the thing that Kayla was saying, where especially there's like a level that you get to, I don't know, maybe an hour in, where there's like embers all over the place, and it's this like, it does some cool stuff with like focus, where things in the background will be a little foggy, things in the foreground will be a little foggy, and then everything like on the plane of the player is clear. I like that aesthetic, and I like the way that looks sometimes with whether it's like the fiery stuff or when you're in like the green spaces. Those I do like, but when you're in just like the dark, cavey, bony, gothic-y look, that I don't fuck with very much. I would be willing to bet that most people agree with you though, Cog. I bet I'm in the minority even though compared to the chat, we would say you're in the minority, I think you're in the majority probably of the greater gaming sphere. But
I mean, so like what I was kind of thinking of is like, I mean, I stand by the statement just in general. I do love the art style. I do think that it looks really pretty and like in its execution. But again, if you want to go back to that, I think it's called Moss Grove, like the place like you start off and it's a very like green area. I got to a point where I was like, I think I was like in like a slightly higher elevation part of it, and it was like you could still see all like the greenery in the background, kind of out of focus, but there's like little waterfalls and like these little like bugs, like there's all these sorts of things that are happening in the background still that are like obviously intentionally out of focus, but it just makes it feel more alive. Like the world still really feels, you walk through certain areas and you'll like a lot of games do that, but you walk through and like little bird scatter or bug scatter, things like that, little details that just kind of make it feel more alive, more
for sure
interesting, and more interesting to look at than just like a static image, so.
Here's what I'll amend my statement a little bit. I think when you're in a setting that is like alive, I think it's very pretty. Like I have the B-roll pulled up that you guys aren't seeing, but the Moss Grove I think is really pretty. But yeah, when you're just in those like it's very dark and brown and gray, that's when I start to be like, okay, get me back to a place like Moss Grove because I want to see color. I want to see.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Cog, you were saying overall that you're really enjoying it so far. You said it, very much feels like the original, which you don't think is a problem. Sequels often feel like their originals. So I can't necessarily compare it to the original since I didn't put a whole lot of time into the original. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I am having a capital B bad time playing Hollow Knight Silksong. I did make it past the first boss, so I'm still like, these are early impressions. We might come back next week and I'm singing a wholly different tune. But I think the nut of my problem with this game, and I can already see the comments, I can already see the chat, I gotta fucking get good. I think it's a bad faith argument to say that you have to get good to enjoy a video game. I think what this game is, the experience I'm having playing this video game is that it is making me work too hard to enjoy it. And what I mean by that is like the Souls-like elements of it. And like, yes, these are things that apparently all existed in the first game. I blocked it out, apparently, where when you die, you lose all your shit, you have to go back to it. But on the way back to it, there's just all of the obstacles that you just barely got through anyway that you have to get through. So you're probably just going to fucking die and lose all your things. It's just not a fun game experience for me of what I feel like is punishing. When I was getting to that boss, the bell boy, whatever we call the first boss, I forget his name already. I get to him, he beats me very quickly. And because it's it's not like an autosave situation, it's not a very like forgiving situation. The last time I rested, fucking dumbass me, I was on the whole other fucking side of the map. So now I gotta go all the way across, make it through all these things. And because like when you go to a new area in this game, unlike a Souls game, everything respawns. It's not like with a Souls game, they only respawn when you do a certain thing. When you're away long enough, there's like, okay, we're alive again. It's like, fuck, now I gotta get through all this fucking shit again. And it just, for me, is just not a fun experience. And I don't, like, I can objectively see why people like this game. And I'm not trying to say this is a bad game at all. This is not a Patrick game. And I do plan on playing it more, but I'm just so tired of the experience of a game that I want to get into and like, and it just expects me to only have fun by getting fucking good. And like, it's just obstacle after obstacle. I boot the game up. I want to see a map. If you're in the Dido community, you know that having no map is one of the biggest triggers for me to get pissed off in a video game. I gotta go find fucking $50, not US dollars, fucking Silksong dollars to buy a map. But it's not only one map. It's just a map for this one area. So when I go to this other area, I gotta buy another fucking map. But hold on, Jordan. Not only do I have to buy a map, I have to buy a compass to tell me where I even am on the map. I finally get fucking $70 to buy the compass. And then I realize that it won't update where I'm going until I buy the fucking quill. And I'm like, I gotta get 3 fucking things for the map in this game. And granted, I got all of this within an hour and a half, but it's like I'm actively not having a fun time when I don't even know where the fuck I am. I'm getting lost. I don't know where the fucking merchant is. I finally get a thing that I think, oh, I got the map now, but I gotta get 2 more fucking things. And then it doesn't even update until I go and sit at a rest point. So I go to 16 rooms, but I can't even look at the map until I fucking sit down, Jordan. Why do people like this game? All right, I'm done.
Jordan, any rebuttals from you?
Yes, and
the prosecution rests.
And my rebuttals are not in any sort of way trying to say that you are wrong in what you're saying. Nothing that you just said at the end there was factually incorrect. You are correct. You have to find the merchant. You have to buy these things. You have to sit at the benches to actually update the map. You have to actually equip the compass to see where you are on the map.
I forgot I had to equip the compass, Jordan. Yeah. Oh, God.
I mean, like, you can... Once you've been in the area a little bit, you can kind of more or less guess which area you're in on the map. But still, obviously, it's a lot more helpful to have the compass equipped, and then you have to do that at the bench too. Remind me, what is your tolerance level for Souls like, just in general? I know you played Elden Ring.
I really didn't like. No, I did. I've tried to get into Elden Ring 4 separate times, and I just don't like Elden Ring. And a lot of it is the obtuseness of the map and like not really knowing where things are and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I finished Demon Souls, the remake specifically, and then I got through, I would say 90% of Bloodborne, and then just like didn't finish it for some reason. There wasn't a specific reason. I just didn't finish, and then like much later in life someone was like, oh, you like basically beat the game. I was like, oh well, that's my bad, I didn't realize I was almost done. And then since then I've dabbled with a couple different Dark Souls, but after 10 minutes I'm like, oh yeah, I just don't like this style.
Yeah. And you're pretty correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but you're pretty much the same feeling about Metroidvanias in general?
For the most part, except the difference being there are Metroidvanias that I have adored in my life. I think of the Guacamelee franchise that I 100%ed in both of those games. Just really fucking adored those games. But as what you're alluding to is over the last, say, 2 years, I've started to realize that I have maybe changed my palette on Metroidvanias, and the last maybe 6 that I've tried to get into, I've never gotten past probably 2 to 3 hours max. For some reason, none of them are clicking with me, and I'm thinking it's a genre thing, is my current hypothesis.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Genre. So my thoughts here, this can be said for any genre, whether it is Metroidvanias and Souls-likes, or if it's first-person shooters, or what you call them, those battle royales, or any style of game that's within a genre. There's going to be almost like a design language that you either learn and you actually enjoy, or you learn and you hate it, or you just don't pick up on it at all, which is also frustrating. So me being a fan of Metroidvanias, big time, favorite genre, probably up there with action adventure, Zelda type games. Not really super into Souls likes. There's been standout ones like Elden Ring, Nine Souls that I really did love and got hooked on. But by and large, that's the only FromSoft game I've ever beaten is Elden Ring. I never beat any other FromSoft game. But I do know kind of what to expect from them, and I do know, of course, Metroidvanias, and so whenever I'm going through and I'm okay, I know I'm going to find another way to loop back around, hit that switch, reconnect this part of the map. That's endorphins. That is serotonin, baby. I love it.
I can see that.
But something else too is that Coal Mines was in Discord earlier talking about one of his friends that was streaming it, or he was watching it somehow. I don't know if it was what the platform was, but it's probably on Kick, knowing Coal Mines. And
Coal Mines catching strays.
just kidding, bud. Just kidding. He's been trashing Metrovanias and in the Discord all day.
He's my biggest ally in this fight.
He is. We all need him. We all need allies. This friend of his was having a really hard time on the what we were calling the third boss, which you can get to within the first probably hour and a half ish. Because I cleared that boss and played another 30-ish minutes before I had to stop. And I was having a hard time too.
Gamer.
I
said pro fucking gamer.
I was beating my head against the wall for the first 5 or 6 tries, and then I remembered. So again, like you're saying, if you don't find the bench, then you're gonna have a really bad time. So I think I didn't find one initially, so I kind of go back up to it, and then I was like, well, there's got to be another one around here, because again, I know the genre, I know Hollow Knight, and sure enough, there was a bench that was 2 rooms down from the boss fight was. So that was okay, awesome. I've got that now. If I die, it's a 2-second walk back to the boss arena, no big deal. Kept trying, kept losing. Then I remember, in that same room, it was a pretty big room, and this is a very, very minor spoiler. So if you don't want to hear about something in the first 2 hours, just, I don't know.
Just tell me how the game ends.
Tune out for 2 seconds.
Turn us down.
But there was something in the room that I couldn't get to right away. And I thought maybe I would need a key or something, but then I looked around some more, found out I didn't need a key. I found out how to get to it. And it turned out that item was very helpful as far as being able to attack in a different way that I couldn't attack with before.
Okay.
Took it back up to the boss, knocked it out.
Sure.
On my 7th try. Whereas his friend had been beating his head against the wall for an hour trying to fight this boss. And so when all of that to say, I know it's pretty long-winded. All that to say, when you kind of when you enjoy the genre and you understand the kind of the design language that's going behind some of these things, I kind of had a hunch, there's got to be something I'm missing, because the way that this boss is attacking, I don't have a dodge roll yet, even. So there's got to be something I'm missing that I don't have yet that's going to help me, and it's probably in the vicinity, because that's how Metroidvanias usually work.
Sure, okay.
You're going to need a tool to get further, and you can beat that boss without the item that I found. You could if you were better than me, but I'm not better than me because I'm me. So I needed the tool to do it, and
put that on a shirt.
So
I'm not better than
solved the problem.
Somebody text Jericho.
Clip that. So that took care of my minor how am I gonna beat this the little frustration at one boss fight. It was pretty short lived, and then I got to move on, and I got to explore some more. I got to find some more cool things, and got to another kind of sub area that looked really cool, and I'm excited to explore. So again, I completely understand it. When you don't like this genre, this is not going to be the kind of game for you unless there's some other thing that clicks with you. Maybe you play another 30 minutes and there's something cool about the combat that just lands with you, or you do appreciate the art style more, or something. But I'm never gonna. Yeah, music is fantastic. I'm never gonna be the guy, as big of a fan as I am. I'm never gonna be the guy to sit here and tell somebody you're wrong for not liking the thing that I like, because that's just not how things work. And I get the frustrations people have with the genre and with this game specifically. I understand them perfectly. Yeah. I just don't share them.
I think ultimately, though, and I want to see what Kayla has on her mind based on what she's been hearing, but I think ultimately, I don't even know that it's the genre as a whole. I think the more I think about it, especially with this conversation, I think it is the act of the game and the genre, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, wanting me to be lost and to figure out getting unlost. Would you say that is a feature of a Metroidvania, is getting lost and having to figure out okay, where do I go now? In terms of
to an extent, yeah, because
to an extent, yeah.
Yeah, because
I think there's degrees.
I'm just thinking of recent ones. So this game, you think of Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, where you're going into Mount Koth, which has not been it's been kind of sealed off. No one's really been exploring Mount Koth for a decade or something like that. You think about a game like Metroid Dread, where you're starting off on a planet you've never been to before, and you've just been like knocked out, and you're trying to find your way back to the surface, kind of thing. A lot of times, that's like the starting off point for the game in the genre is like you're kind of on your own, and you need to find your way.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair thing to say, that like getting lost, or at least like not being okay and not knowing exactly where to go is kind of part of the buy-in to enjoy it, I think.
I fucking hate that. And I think that is the nut of my issue. Because I think, I'm willing to bet, and I'm interested to see, I don't know that I can't think of a Metroidvania off the top of my head that always has a quest marker and always is telling me where to go. And I think if one had that, I think a lot of my issues might go away to a degree. Because I think of Animal Well as another one. That I really tried to get into so bad, but I just don't. I really don't like it when a game. And I texted you earlier. I'm like, I am missing something because you've beaten a boss. I haven't even found well, I think I found the boss, but now they want me to somehow be able to fight the boss by finding something, and I have no idea where to go. I feel like I've gone everywhere. And because this game doesn't have any sort of quest marker, I just had to keep running around until I found a part of the map that I hadn't gone to. But then, insert all of my issues with the map system. So that was like a barrier for me to get to that point. And I think for some reason, like, I feel like that might be the nut of it for me, where I just really don't like being lost in a game. And a game that we're going to talk about later is Expedition 33. And that was one that I get so much flack for being pissed that there's no map in that game because it's supposedly linear. But it's not a linear game when you go into this area and there's 7 different directions you can go. And there's different things in all of these different directions. Sometimes it's secret, sometimes it's like side quests, sometimes it's the main point. And because I can't see any of it, it expects me to like figure it out visually. It's just like not a fun experience for me. And I think that might be the nut of it for me. And because I'll say, like, once I finished the boss and like things were clicking for me in Silksong, I was having a good time. And then I go into the next area and there's this new challenge that I have to figure out how to do. And that, for me, it's not that I don't want every game to be easy, but like I'm like fed up to a point of the barriers that this game is putting in front of me. And now it's added another one. I'm like, ugh. I just don't want to have to deal with another one. Just like, let me fucking chill for a bit. I do want to bring in some chats real fast. First of all, D-Guns with the raid. Will you honor us, D-Guns?
Yes.
D-Guns at one point a little bit ago said, Souls games are my fave games. I love Metroidvanias, but I think Silksong / Hollow Knight misfires on the map situation and the way you have to manage your inventory, forcing me to waste equipment slots and spend precious money on things that should be default feels bad. And, there's going to be people that argue that it doesn't have to be default. That's like, it's their intention with their design. But I totally agree. I think for especially like something like a Metroidvania, I feel like so much of it hinges on the map and filling out the map. And I don't think it is unfair to say you should fucking give me the map and not make me earn it. Like, as I say it, I know it sounds fucking stupid and it sounds like I just want an easier game. I really don't. I just want a game that doesn't fight against me to enjoy myself. Is that fair?
I mean, to bring in those other examples, I mean, like Metroid Dread and Prince of Persia Lost Crown, like those games, like you find little areas, either like a map room or like some sort of thing that gives you part of that map. Like you may have to explore a little bit to find it, but like, you're not having to fork over currency or like worry about, killing a certain number of enemies. Like I will say that I have, after that first encounter with the map person, I have had maybe
sings,
one.
By the way, that I do really love that.
Yeah. Yes. The map dude in the first game also like he would like hum, and so that's how you like follow the sound of the. That's a fun little thing that they do.
I do.
But the enemies drop so much of that specific type of currency that like the next time I needed to buy something from that same lady, like I bought another map and like 3 different types of markers for the maps, like all in one fell swoop, because I had like a surplus of that currency. Because again, as long as you're something like that.
Yeah. I want to bring in one more chat, and then Kayla, I want to kick it to you to see if there's anything that you want to ask or add. Big freaking, I think, hit it on the fucking head. It's for me, it's a time thing. I don't have much time to play games, but I don't want a chore. When a game feels like a chore to me, you have lost, I think. And that, I think that's such a quaint way to put it. Does quaint mean small? No. Succinct.
No.
It's a succinct way to put it.
Concise, succinct.
Concise, yeah. Not quaint. I think that is, yeah, I don't
Concise.
have like there with this, especially in the podcast world, I don't have a ton of time to play a game because there's so many fucking games that I want to play to be able to talk about. And if you're wasting my time, it's going to really bother me. And I feel like this game and a lot of Metroidvanias, in my opinion, waste my time. Kayla, I kick it to you. We've not let you speak for so long.
No,
Let
that's okay.
her
I'm
speak.
just soaking it all in. You know, I didn't play this game, but I feel like a lot, like being external to this conversation, I feel like I know we're going to be talking about it soon, but I think it's actually a good way to like lead into our Game of the Year conversation so far, at least, because I think that a lot of what you guys are saying are differences in taste in a way. And I think everyone can enjoy different genres of games at different degrees. So, like, for example, I had basically written off that I didn't enjoy turn-based combat or really any turn-based like strategy games of that nature. But when I played Expedition 33, while I wouldn't necessarily seek a game out because of the combat style of it being turn-based, even having like the active real-time element. Sea of Stars also changed that for me as well. Sea of Stars mentioned. I think that there's give and take in any type of game. There's going to be things that I found it very hard to pick a game that's absolutely perfect in my eyes, where every single mechanic is exactly like I would want it to be. But it's all about the payoff. So, like, what are you getting out of this game, balanced with the nitpicks we might have? We're all like professional gamers, I would say. So there's going to be some kind of critique or something we compare it to. But to me, and it's actually pretty similar to me with books. Like, there's going to be something in a book that you have a critique on, but is the payoff worth it to you? Are the other elements in the game worth it to you to be able to put up with maybe your gripe about something else? Like, a lot of times it's like, if something is like incredibly vibey, if it's got a fantastic art style, if it feels smooth to play, and it lacks like a definitive storyline, sometimes I'm still into it. Like, narrative isn't pretty important to me in a game, more so I would say than like the actual traversal. But I think it's all about like what you're looking for, what your preferences are, and like there's always gonna be something, in my opinion. Like, there's no like perfect 10 out of 10 with no critiques to me personally.
Sure.
But I think that's all about your style and your preference and things like that. So if it's not your vibe, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on, Kayla. This is a great segue into Game of the Year so far. But any final thoughts on Silksong? Not to say that we can't bring it back up, but any final thoughts on Silksong before we start talking Game of the Year so far?
I don't think so. Like I said, this is up my alley hole, so I'm enjoying it.
Oh, tell me more about that hole. Jordan, as the first question of the new topic, do you think Silksong could be your Game of the Year?
I don't see it being my Game of the Year. I definitely see it cracking top 10, like, with probably very little effort. But yeah, you know what my number one is, and
well, sure,
it's gonna take a lot to unseat that game. So
sure.
But again, like what I've played so far of it, I am really enjoying. What I will say real quick, because Kayla, what you were just reminding me of it, as far as like you're bringing up narrative, because I really do love a good narrative as well. That's actually my biggest gripe with Hollow Knight, the original one. Sorry, Silksong 1 and now Silksong 2. They both kind of do this thing where the same thing as Souls like to do for by and large, which is be super freaking vague on everything. Like, we're just gonna drop the most ethereal hints at something that has happened in this world, or something that's gonna be happening, or whatever else, and like, I'm pretty sure I had to just like Google what was going on by the time I was reaching the end of Hollow, and I was like, I'm having a fun time as far as the gameplay. You know, there were some hard boss fights and
Sorry.
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
Me with Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, sure.
Heard. I love that. But yeah, like I had to just Google stuff because you can't even like get to some of the more like I mentioned the true ending earlier. Like you can't even get to some of that stuff because you have to find like a very specific little lore thing that's hidden behind 3 mushrooms under a dark wall, and then that tells you to go look at it. It's like okay, like sure, that would have.
That's what that makes me want to do.
Don't do it, Patrick.
I won't. I promise I won't. That's a bad joke. So obviously, Cog said we all know his game of the year so far. It's Republican Simulator. Kayla, what's your game of the year?
You know, Patrick, I debated on giving the obvious answer or maybe going a different route because I do have a couple of top contenders. I've played a decent amount of 2025 releases, but I haven't finished a ton of 2025 top releases, which maybe we can talk about that as well later in the discussion. Can something be in your top without having necessarily beat it? Good question. My game of the year so far is also Expedition 33 for a lot of different reasons, but for the most part, like I just had such a grand time playing it and discussing it, and yeah, everything to me. Again, not a perfect 10 out of 10. I mean, it is a 10 out of 10 as far as score, but like there's obviously critiques that I have for it. But overall, yes.
I'm really sorry. I was trying to like, do I interrupt you to say something real quick? Because no, I'm really glad you said that because like I agree with you right there. Like to me, I think IG and a lot of sites do this now where they actually try to explain it, but like 10 out of 10 for a game score should not be considered that. Like I know that Jake's compared it to like, you know, a quiz in school. Like it's not the same thing to me. Like a 10 out of 10 video game doesn't mean that it's completely flawless. It just means that like whatever flaws were there were easily overcome by what was great about it. Like, yeah, I have like 2 maybe small gripes about Expedition, but then like everything else about it was so overwhelmingly magnifique that I just still give it a 10.
Yeah, his present.
What are y'all when thinking of your list, your top 10 list, which we're only going to talk about maybe our first, second, maybe third, because we want to save the good content for the game of the year discussion.
We do.
But what goes into figuring out like what is in your top 10, top 5, top 3 type thing? Do you like look for certain types of elements in a game, or if it made you feel a certain way? Is it your favorite? Is it like an objective type thing? Jordan, like what are you looking for when you're trying to figure out what is my game of the year?
Actually, not to supersede you, Patrick, but I feel like I interrupted Kayla just a moment ago, so I would like to kick it to her first. Let her finish speaking.
You are literally such a gentleman, Jordan. Kayla,
that's so nice.
Speak from your chest.
I didn't feel any type of way about it, but I appreciate you, and I will share. I did want to point out one thing that High Score Week in the chat that I resonate with is I believe you can have games as your top or game of the year without necessarily beating it because it's a personal list. But I don't think scores should be given unless something is completed. I would agree with that. I feel like it'd be hard to like give something a definitive score, which I don't think that really matters necessarily unless you're like a professional reviewer. I don't know, but I could see that for sure. For me, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but a lot of it for me is based on pure like enjoyment level. And that is weighted by a couple different things. A lot of the most important details to me in a game is the story and the narrative that you go on. That is something like clearly if you're watching the video, you see all the books behind me. I love good narrative. But it's not always there's a couple things with the narrative in Expedition 33. I know I wasn't on the spoiler cast because I actually hadn't beat it by then. It takes me a while to beat games. So if I spend my time on a game to completion, even if it's like a shorter game necessarily, like Expedition 33 is not incredibly long, but that says something to me in itself if I completed the game to roll credits, or if I go back and revisit, which I have at times with Expedition 33. But overall, to me, narrative is most important. So was I moved by the story? That's something that I typically am looking at up front. Is it something that moved me? Did I have like a visceral reaction? I cried during Expedition 33. So yes, it gave me a visceral reaction. So that's like my number one thing that I'm looking for. Another thing that I look at is the combat. If there is combat in the game, I do look at that because I'm, again, heavy. I love a lot of different narrative driven linear games are like what I mostly play these days. So like if the combat is super difficult, then Souls-like games traditionally are more difficult. I tend to shy away from those because it's not something that like even if it has like an amazing story that I could get out of it, but there's no way to, this might be, stepping on some toes here, but if there's no difficulty setting where I can turn it down and make it not as hard to be able to get to the story beats at all, then I will probably just not pick it up, because what's the point? Like that, if that's what I'm looking for from the game, is like that payoff of the narrative. So yeah, that's a couple of things that I look for. Also, like, I'm pretty open on the visuals. Like I do want it to look good, obviously, and like meet a certain like vibe that I'm looking for, but I'm pretty like widespread. Like I'll play 2D, 3D, pixels, like I'll play pretty much any style of game. That's not really what's going to make it like be like a top contender for me, just on the style alone, typically. But yeah,
you're very visual fluid, it sounds like.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all of what you said. Other than Expedition 33 being your favorite game of the year, but that's your opinion, not mine. Jordan, what goes into your opinion on when you're trying to figure out your game of the year, your list in general? Do you have rules? Is it just vibes? What do you go off of?
Yeah, I wouldn't call them strict rules necessarily, but like I did jot down a couple of things that like generally go into that thought of like if I am trying to like come up with a list for content or something else by the end of the year. So kind of similar to what Kayla was saying, like one of the big things for me is like I want it to be impactful in some way. Like that could be an emotional story beat. That could just be like the story being really cool in general. It could be like the gameplay itself was doing something. But like whatever that impactful thing is, I want it to be something that's going beyond what other games are doing that year. So like I think of last year with Neva, and like it being an emotional story, the art style itself being like so just absolutely gorgeous in every second of the gameplay, and like along the same lines of something else that I like to think of is like, did the game accomplish what it was setting out to do? Because on like the flip side of that, I always bring up this as an example, is like Tales of Kanzera Zao, where it's a Metroidvania, so there's a lot of platforming and some combat, but like neither the platforming nor the combat felt very good. So even though the story was really emotionally resonant with me, like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay and like what they were trying to do with it, with the platforming and everything else, it did not hit at all. So that one got like a, I think I'm probably ended up giving that like a 6 out of 10, like something that's like worth playing and like has redeeming qualities, but just like did not accomplish what it was trying to do with the genre and with the gameplay elements that they were throwing in there. And one other thing is just like this sounds pretty basic, but like I want it to be something that's enjoyable, and by that I mean it's not something that you're going to be like, well, I started it, I want to see it through because I started it, I want to check it off the list. Like, because I know like sometimes we can get into that, whether it's because of content creating or whether it's just because like sunk cost fallacy, whatever it is. Like I don't want it to be a game that's like, well, I did enjoy it by the end, but I really had to like fight myself to get there because I was really like, I wanted to put it down so many times. Like if it's that kind of a game, like even if it is good by the end of it to some degree, like I want to look forward to playing it. I want that to be part of it too. I was like, oh man, I hate being at work today because like, yeah, I need a paycheck, but all I can think about is getting right back and like getting the next story beat or like trying this new move I just learned or whatever else. So that's kind of what I love.
Almost like an escape is something that like I want it to not feel like a chore, like I have to roll credits, but more like I want to do this because I'm able to like turn my brain off or like engage my brain in a different way. Totally agree with that.
For me, I think I don't have like a strict rule set either. It's just kind of like vibes for me. But I think as I try to come up with an actual answer, oh god, I just choked on nothing. I think part of it is I do a quick scroll through my GG app where I have every year until like 2015 ranked in terms of like my top games of the year of everything that I play in that year, and every game that's on the top of my list, was something that got a hold on me in such a way that I would think of it when I wasn't playing it. And all of them, a through line is I was always thinking about coal mines in the chat. I'm always thinking about what might come next in the game. Why am I not playing this game right now? I just want to have my fucking hands on the sticks of this game. All of those games have the through line. Like going back last year, Dragon Age, the year before, Alan Wake 2. This year, so far, Blueprints. And I think all of that is, yeah, it's just something about, like, I wouldn't, my number 3 game of this year is Death Stranding 2. And it's the kind of thing where I really loved that game. And I did think of it a lot while I'm not playing it, and like, what might come next. Works. I got 10 more minutes of work to do. I just want to go play this game. But I don't know, there's just something that it didn't have that Blueprints had that, like, for me, so like ultimately I guess what I'm saying is sometimes it's hard for me to put my finger on why it's in my number 1 spot. I just know that it is.
Yeah.
But for this year in particular with Blueprints, and something that I try to look for a lot. I know for people that have listened to Spotlight Games in the past, Cayman, his thing is usually a game of the year has to either be just by far and away the best in its field at that moment, or it reinvented itself in some way. It brought something new to the table. And while I don't necessarily totally agree for myself of like that always needs to be like the vibe, I feel like that for me is Blueprints in a nutshell, where it brought so much that I had never experienced in a roguelike, in a puzzle game, in even in a narrative before. Like the way that game's narrative is structured. And here's another example. There is a narrative in that game, and it's very compelling. But you say that as a joke, but I think this is a great example too as to why Blueprints is my number 1. I look at Elden Ring. You said it was like this in Hollow Knight. I didn't play enough Hollow Knight to know. Where when the game is hidden when the story is hidden in the game, easiest way for me to not give a shit. And in a lot of ways, Blueprints' story is hidden. But that game grabbed me in such a way that I wanted to find every little story beat that I could find in that game. I put like 60 hours into that game. Maybe even like 70. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Because
I was being a little bit facetious, and like even the bit that I did play, like it was cool that they hid the story in the sense that it wasn't spelled out to you, but at the same time, like you were discovering the story the same way that you were playing the game, which was like finding new rooms and finding new ways to unlock the door, like, things like that. But like it actually made narrative sense, so that they were like keeping the story in places where you needed to go to progress the game itself anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's a step above the Souls-like method in that regard for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think that I agree for sure. But I think it's a swing, right? Like it didn't work for you. Part of it was the RNG, where like you just never really got to experience. Like there's a moment in this game that I don't want to spoil per se, but it's like one of the coolest moments I've ever had in a video game. And it's because you walk into this area and like there is just something there that kind of blows up the entire perception that you've had of this game so far. And it's like, of course this is what's going on. I like you've been drip feeding me all of these little things for the last 40 hours. I find this thing, it clicks so many things. Ryan, we're talking about Blueprints right now, typically, or just generally our game of the year so far. And I think that is also maybe something that I would throw in my list of like what makes it a game of the year is, did it give me a moment in its game, whether that's story, gameplay, etc., that just completely wowed me, which it sounds like for both of you, Expedition 33 had that in spades. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually also tried Blueprints. I don't know if I've ever actually even talked about it on here, but while I see the appeal and it did hook me, I think I played it for like 12 hours. So like I put a decent chunk of time into it, for what it's worth. Not nearly as much as Patrick, of course. But the what is it? Real generative? What's the word?
Random number
A
generation.
random number generator. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Some of that, I like at first that was endearing to me, and I found it interesting because I don't play a lot of games like that. And I know it's like unique in itself for the quote genre. But to me, it felt like I personally had to work too hard
Sure.
than I wanted to, at least at the time, to get the payoff that I would like. I think it's something I could see myself going back to, and I definitely see the appeal. But at the time, I was like, I would rather play a game where I have like a goal. I mean, you have a goal, but like it's more clearly lined out like what you're doing and you're not necessarily having to solve the puzzles. But I do think there's a place where I could find that intriguing and like want to go back to it. But yeah, I put about 12 hours into it.
Sure.
It's on my list, but it's not in the top.
For sure.
Yeah,
And,
this is,
and honestly, I'm surprised at how much I love Blueprints, because when
Yeah.
I look at it at like a high level, it has so many elements that typically turn me off in a video game, and especially from the narrative standpoint. Like Kayla, you and I are, we walk to the beat of the same drum. I don't think that's the phrase, but it's close enough. That narrative is the most important thing to me in a video game. Unlike you, I can't read, so I don't read books. And so often I try to get my stories from video games. And, you know, we're at a point now where video games tell really gripping and unique stories. But I think, yeah, for me, that's what surprised me about Blueprints. And to bring E33 back, I think for me, it in a way is something that didn't work for me with Expedition 33, in that game tells a very clear narrative from front to end. It tells it in a very traditional way. We got our cutscenes, we got our dialogue, et cetera, et cetera. But the story that they told just didn't click for me in many ways, whether it be things that I saw coming from respectfully a mile away, or if it's just like certain story beats that they chose. For me, it just didn't click in a lot of ways. And it's the kind of thing too, I think there is an asterisk on my opinion for Expedition 33, because as Coal Mines so often makes a joke, I finished it on a fucking CRT. It wasn't actually, but I didn't get like the full experience from that game. I played it on a smaller TV because I was displaced and all these things. And I probably should have waited to play Expedition 33 more until I was in a better headspace. But so I do think that they're like, it's because for me, it's not even in my top 10. It just keeps moving down and down in my list. Right now, I think it's at number 11. It was most recently just pushed down one more slot by Shinobi Art of Vengeance. But Jordan, I know we did the spoiler cast. We've talked about it before. What is it specifically about Expedition 33 that has it so firmly locked as your number one?
I think it is. I mean, not to give one of those cop-out answers, but it really is everything about it to me.
Yeah, sure.
Like, because the narrative really did land for me. I loved those characters. I really dug the gameplay. I didn't really have. I had very, very little frustration as far as like the whole like map situation is concerned. Yeah. And again, I want to be clear. I've said this before. Like, I completely get it. I get that criticism, and I'm not gonna like fight you on it at all, or anyone on it, because like, even if you want to just take it out of like, you know, a practical standpoint, and just look at it from like an accessibility standpoint, it's kind of like not great to not have a map for a game like that. It's not quite as intricate, and you know, I said this in the Discord earlier, as far as not having a map in a Metroidvania to me is a much bigger deal than not having a map in like a, you know, sectioned off zones type of RPG like Expedition 33 is. But yeah, like the narrative, the gameplay, the music, the visual style, like everything about it just really like hit on all cylinders for me. Those emotional beats, like, I mean, like it had me shedding tears on New Game Plus, dude. Like,
sure.
I already knew what was happening, and still just getting back to those moments like has made me cry again. Like I'm in Act 3 of a New Game Plus now. Like it's a long game, and I've almost beaten it twice in 1 year because of that. Because I just love it so much. So, if I may, Patrick, I want to take that little nugget you just dropped for us and talk about Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
Ooh, sure. Before we do that, really quick, put a pin.
Yeah.
I saw Kayla's pesky little finger pop up. Did you want to say something, Kayla?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I did. And I really resonate. I regretfully say that I resonate with Coal Mines. But I do, actually. Coal Mines said the presentation is what makes E33 for me. It's so well put together, and the music goes so well with each area and scene. I think that is a very good call. It's the package delivery of what you're getting combined with the music and the scenes and the characters. And I feel like I will say there are some things in Expedition 33 I did see coming. I think there are, and my one gripe with the narrative is that it waits a while to let you in on what's going on. You can put the pieces together and kind of discern some things, but there was a point, like when you get to the crescendo of what it is trying to say, again, spoiler free, of course, I was getting a little frustrated, like, okay, like, are they going to tell us a little bit about what's going on? But when it did, to me, the payoff was so incredible. And because the game had already made me so invested in the characters, combined with, I think that the gameplay with each individual character is so well tailored to the whole experience that everything just felt incredibly immersive for me, regardless of like my brief like hangups with the narrative. So I think presentation is a really good call. Everything put together, the music so well timed, some of the cutscenes, the way that they delivered them, like incredible, like mouth agape experience. I was like, wow, I've never felt like this specifically in a game.
It's
so
a very,
I think
that's pretty game.
It is.
It is.
But yeah, that's my final thoughts on Game of the Year.
You really want to talk about Shinobi Art of Vengeance, if I'm not mistaken.
I do, because I didn't tell either one of you this, but like, had you not prompted me about Expedition 33, I actually would have probably just like pushed it to the side a little bit, because like I've already been on the spoiler cast. Everyone knows how much I love this game. Like, but I rolled credits on Shinobi this week. Yeah. Time is an illusion.
It doesn't exist. It's a made-up concept.
It doesn't exist. And it is in my number 3 spot right now. That game.
Wow.
We're talking about like a couple of little nitpicks here and there. Like I think I would score it more like probably 9.5. Like definitely not a 10, but like at least a 9, probably 9.5. Because again, when you're talking about one of the things that I like to think of when you're like accomplishing what you're setting out to do, and like you're making the game that's enjoyable, you're making the game that's like doing something that's a little bit different, or a little bit like going a little bit above and beyond what other games are doing in the same like space. It's the whole package. Again, I was having a back and forth with somebody on Threads earlier, and same kind of question of like, oh, like I just played the demo. That's great. It's great to know that it's so good. Like, what was your favorite thing about it? And I was like, can I say all of it? Like, what do you mean my favorite thing about like, what do you, but like, I mean, I'm talking like the second or third level, there's this set piece that happens, and I'm like, that's probably about maybe an hour into my playtime with this game, and I'm just like slack jawed, like chuckling like an idiot, like this is so cool, like what's like on the screen, like it's so cool. And like,
which level is it? Can you just say?
Yeah, it's the mountain level, the mountain-based level.
Mountain-based level, okay.
I don't think this isn't really a spoiler, but like you're on like a bridge or a cliff or something that like gets blown up, and so you're falling down the canyon and having to like platform up to avoid like falling all the way off the screen. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh,
that was cool.
This is so cog coded. This is so good. Like,
the one that
it had like a few of those little moments, and like,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say the level that gave me that was the like cityscape Sega level, where like everything in the city is just Sega so branded. Was very good, which is like the third level.
That was awesome too.
Don't be mad.
Yeah, I think you could like either pick to do that one or the other one. Like, yeah.
High Score Weekly in the chat says, amazing that Jordan and the only other person on Threads both played Shinobi. Which is just so funny. It's an overplayed joke, but it gets me every time. It makes me laugh.
It's a good one. It's overplayed for a reason, you know, because it gets a chuckle.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible. Like again, you want to talk about like art style. I mean, it's weirdly enough, I think that technically both Hollow Knight and Shinobi would be considered hand drawn as far as like what their art styles are, but just the way that they execute it is so vastly different. And the art, like the visuals in Shinobi are just absolutely stunning. Like you said,
So
you're
pretty.
1 minute you're in this like underwater like submarine thing. You can see these like this like freaky wildlife swimming in the background of like the glass in the submarine. Another level you're on these neon rooftops with Sega logos and like you're platforming up cliffs. Like, there are so many different settings that they went for, and I mean, you want to talk about like paying homage and like bringing in classic elements from the series past and like updating them for more modern audiences. I'm having a stroke
And for them modern audiences.
on air.
Come on, Brandon.
The modern audiences. Daggone it. But like just I live for that stuff, man. Because like I would compare it to like you're gonna laugh at me. Everyone's gonna laugh at me. It's what Super Metroid did. Super Metroid, for those who don't know, takes place in the same exact setting as the first Metroid game from the NES. But of course, Super Metroid graphics, Super Nintendo graphics are like 16-bit instead of 8-bit, and so it looks a lot prettier. They did cool things as far as like making certain places look dilapidated from like the first time you were there and won the day and all that kind of stuff. But like they put you in that setting, but like put a twist on it, and they did interesting things with it. They still expanded it, made it look prettier. Like that's the kind of thing the Shinobi's doing. Where I was telling Patrick, I went back and played on the Sega Genesis app on the Nintendo Switch Online and like played Shinobi 3 for like 2 or 3 levels. And I was like, oh, some of these things have been in this series for decades, because I only played like one other game back in the day, and it wasn't one of the ones that was on there. And so I was like, oh, like this little thing where you're like riding your horse, like side scroller riding a horse and like throwing your kunai or whatever at the bad guys, like that was in there like 1993. That's not a 2025 edition. That's like that's an old thing that they just like updated and like obviously made it look prettier, like added some new like really cool things in the background, like dodging a kaiju's attack while you're riding your magic dog or whatever. So I think it's really cool how these games these days are like, we hit this like weird retro renaissance in August where all these games were either getting new entries from like 20 years ago, or there's these high quality remasters and remakes like Delta and like
wow, there were so many, weren't there?
A lot. There were a lot. There's an essay in the works. Don't worry.
Okay, very good. Drop it.
Yeah, again, like all these elements of like just the combat works. Like some of it's challenging, but like the most challenging parts of it are the parts that are optional. And like I could beat my head against a wall, but I can't be mad about it because I didn't have to do it.
Sure,
I'm just stubborn. You know what I mean? So like I can't even knock too many points off it for how difficult some of these things were. But the combat's great. The visuals are great. The level designs are great. Like the boss fights are cool. Like the story is sufficient. It's not the best narrative in the world, but it's like cool enough to keep me interested. So yeah, like all those kind of things working together. I mean, like it shot right up to my number 3, like real quick.
Kayla, Cog and I have both talked at least about one other game. Anything else that you want to talk about before we look ahead even further with our game of the year so far?
Yeah, I actually have one that I wanted to mention. I'm kind of at a toss-up between my number 2 spot, so I won't give away what is currently like at war with this one, but surprisingly, one that has stayed in my top is actually Lost Record, Bloom and Raid.
Nice.
Which I forgot came out this year.
Yeah.
It is interesting, and I'll explain a little bit. And I think like one thing that, again, I have my gripes, but it is one of the few games that I have like played to completion this year. And I do think about that game a lot. Like I find my mind like wandering back to how I felt playing the game. And while I do think the narrative, which is funny enough, what I mentioned, it was like one of the top priorities, left some things to be desired.
Yeah.
I think that the vibes and the the music, these certain scenes, I do think there was an impactful message there. While I think that it could have gone even further if it was done a little bit differently, or maybe had a little bit more impact. I think that definitely could have improved upon it, and like is why like I'm kind of toying with the idea of it not being number 2. But I wanted to bring it up in the conversation because I think it's like it's one of those for me that it's definitely not perfect at all. But like, I think back to how I felt playing it and the thoughts that were provoked like from that playing that game, and also like I do think it has a very distinct style that I find very intriguing. So that one's in my top for sure. And
Nice.
the High School Weekly also mentioned the OST. Like I do listen to it frequently. Like it's one of my like background music. But yeah, I figured that would be worth mentioning. Again, not a perfect game.
Yeah.
We had a whole discussion on Spotlight Games. If you want to go back and listen to the
did.
spoiler cast, was it a spoiler cast? It was a
It
spoiler
was.
cast.
It was.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can, and you can hear more of details about how we all felt about it there. I definitely have critiques, but I don't know. I keep finding myself thinking about it again. So I think
I love that.
it's worth at least being in my top 5 at the end of the year, I think. So we'll see.
I have been inspired now to make a different list of games that I really wanted to love more than I did. And right now the list so far is South of Midnight and Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. I did like Lost Records. I expected that to be like a top 4 for me though, and I'm surprised that it's not. So it's because it's outside of my top 10 as well. But I did like the game, as you might know if you listen to our spoiler cast. But looking ahead, there's one game that I think of based on what you were just saying about Lost Records mixtape as a potential option for this next category. But are there any games still coming out that are coming out this calendar year that you think might crack your top few, maybe even your number 1? I think the answer is probably no for Jordan, but you never know. Well, actually, there might be one game for Jordan. But is there anything coming that you think might make the top of your list?
I would like to hear Jordan's thoughts first.
Jordan, we got you.
Yeah, I mean, Metro Prime 4 Beyond. I am still holding on to the faith that it's coming out this year, and this is the last I'll say about Expedition 33 today.
Are you sure?
I love that game so much that I don't even know if Metro Prime 4 Beyond can unseat it. It has a chance, but I'm not even it's not even a guarantee. Like, that's how much I adore the very fiber of being of Clair Obscur.
Do you expect
Metro Prime 4
you
Beyond
could be disappointed if Metro Prime 4 Beyond doesn't unseat Expedition 33?
Say it again.
Do you think there is a world in which you are disappointed that Metroid Prime 4 isn't better than Expedition 33?
No, I'm at peace with it because this is one of those kind of things where like the genres are so different that, and like the vibe is so different that like it words are hard. This is the kind of thing that I always go back and forth with. If I'm trying to think of like my favorite series of all time, it always goes back and forth between like Zelda and Metroid, because like those aren't exactly like comparable series as far as like the gameplay styles and like the narrative styles or anything like that. Like they're it's not quite apples and oranges. They're both video games. They're both Nintendo games, all that kind of thing. But like,
and why can't we compare fruit, Jordan?
Because the Lord said no.
That pesky Lord.
But like, no, and like, as much as I love the Metroid series, and I think that the stories that it tells are really fun and like really cool, but like they're not the type of like emotionally destructive stories like Expedition 33 is telling, or like other games are telling. It's not like that type of story, not that type of narrative. And so if I'm looking at the type of things that I consider as like my number 1 game of the year, and one of them is like the impact of the story and things like that, then like nothing's gonna top Expedition 33 for that specifically. And so if Metro Prime 4 Beyond ends up in like the number 2 or 3 spot, let's just say number 2. I know myself. It's number 2 spot. Then like, it's a good year. That's a really good year.
I hope it's your number 1. I hope that it's so much better than Expedition 33 for you, that you like it so much that it beats actually, because you would be so happy and that would make me happy. Kayla, is there
Oh,
anything coming
damn.
out that you think might unseat Expedition 33 as your game of the year?
That's a great question. I don't know if
Thank you
it
so
could
much.
necessarily upseat it, but I think it could be definitely close.
Okay.
I'm very excited for Keeper to come out.
My fucking dude.
Yeah. So everything I've seen about this
Yes.
game is incredible. I have a lighthouse tattooed on me. I don't know if you guys know this
Oh, cool.
actually.
I know that.
I did know
Um,
this, but I forgot.
Arm reveal. Arm reveal.
Lighthouse reveal.
I'm gutted. Gutted. But yeah, I'm actually really excited for this game. I think that everything about it really speaks to me, and I'm already sold. I have a feeling. You know when you get that GOTY feeling?
Ooh, you get that
just the
tickle
spidey
down your
tingle.
spine. Yeah.
Yes. I have that about
Yes.
that one. A couple other things, like I was just kind of looking through my list, and I was like, at first, I was like, I don't feel like there's that much else coming out this year, but there actually is a decent amount coming out. Decent amount coming out. Interesting.
Yeah.
Also, Little
Those
Nightmares
words.
3 is something
Those
that I
are
am
words.
also really excited for. Those are words. I don't know. I don't see a third edition in the series beating out something that felt so like innovative and interesting to me in the way that Impact was, but I really enjoyed the Nightmare series. So that one is up there. And then also Silent Hill F has a
Yeah.
a possibility.
Okay,
It would be my first Silent Hill game, but I am super into like I've always looked at the Silent Hill games and known that it would be something that I would enjoy. Jerica has like consistently told me that I should play them. So I do think that has the possibility for me to like really love it. So those are a couple of things. I know I kind of mentioned a few different ones, but I think the closest would probably be Keeper for sure.
Yeah.
But,
Am I remembering that you've not played Resident Evil 2 Remake, Kayla?
no, I've played 4 remake,
Brother,
but I have
we
not
gotta
played
get you on 2 Remake.
Yeah, I definitely would love that.
It's very
Yes.
Silent Hill adjacent, where it's the most
Okay.
of the newer ones. It's the most like survival horror-y. Where like 4 is an action game, 8 is an action game, which I know you've played 8. But 2, oh, it's so good. Silent Hill F almost makes my list. I have 3 games and a concept that might be my game of the year. The concept being there might be a game that I'm just not expecting. Something like Dispatch, like something that I don't expect that to be my game of the year,
Yeah.
but maybe it surprises me. But the ones that I'm actually keeping my eye on, agree with you, Keeper, a huge Double Fine fan. Psychonauts was in my short list the year it came out. I don't think it was my game of the year. I think it was maybe my number 2. But I adore Tim Schafer and Double Fine, and I don't even really understand what Keeper is other than vibes in a lighthouse.
Me neither.
But I'm so fucking in. Ghost of Yote, I think. I really, really hope. Tsushima was not my game of the year that year because it was the year that The Last of Us Part 2 came out. But I really hope that they take that next step and that they elevate the franchise. And it's not just more Ghost. I will be happy with just more Ghost, but I will also be disappointed if it's just more Ghost. And so far, a lot of what they've shown me is it might just be more Ghost. And so I hope that if that's the case, that there's something, whether it's story, setting, protagonist, like whatever it is that really kind of takes it to the next level is my hope with Ghost of Yote. And then one that I think, maybe is a cheat because we know that if it comes this year, it's only going to be in early access. Slay the Spire 2, which is not a Patrick game in that I typically am very narrative forward. Slay the Spire, doesn't really tell a story, but it's a deck builder, it's a roguelike, and it is just, the first one is pretty close to a perfect video game in terms of its gameplay loop and just like how fun it is to play. That that game consumed me when I first played it, and I played it so many years after it had come out. But I am so excited for Slay the Spire 2, and I'm low-key very disappointed that I couldn't put it on my fantasy team because it's a early access game, and we banned that after I ran the table last year with Hades 2. Oh, fuck, Hades 2! That could also, I wasn't even considering that. That could also, if 1.0 actually comes, which I expect this month we will get a date, is my official prediction. That could certainly be a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
Hades 2. Other games that are coming that I want to just throw out to see if this sparks anything in people. The Outer Worlds 2. Any Outer Worlds 2 hype on the panel?
Not from here.
I think 1 is massively overrated.
Oh yeah, the first one kind of sucks. What about Pokemon ZA?
No, not particularly.
I don't think it's GOTY material. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it, but it's not GOTY for me.
What about a duo of 4s, Borderlands and Ninja Gaiden 4? Either of those, any GOTY potential? Do we think?
Not for myself.
For me, Borderlands, that has a very solid chance of cracking top 10. I would say for me. Ninja Gaiden 4, I doubt it. I'm not as big on that franchise. Played some in the past, enjoyed them, but like I'm not like super hyped for it. I'm interested to check it out, like see what it's about when it comes out. But yeah.
Rabbit in the chat, he tries so hard. He tries so hard. He says, "I hate the lack of a decent map and the art style of The Last of Us." He tries so hard. He just can't win. Poor guy. Poor guy.
No, you can't talk about The Last of Us.
I was trying.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was trying so hard not to be too pedantic earlier because somebody was talking about, I hate games where I have to get good. I'm like, okay, so you just lose the boss one time and quit? Delete it? Is that what you do? Or do you try again, brother?
Actually, I do. I have to try too hard at life. Don't catch me trying in a video game. You know what I mean?
Because otherwise you're going to catch these hands, Kayla.
There you go.
I'm just joking.
Last one. This one is directed at Kayla. Directive 8020. Any chance?
Oh,
that
yeah,
really
I forgot about that.
That's delayed. That got delayed for next year.
Oh, never mind.
Because I took it off my fantasy list because I was really excited for it. I had it on my list, and I took it off.
GG has not updated that.
Oh, interesting. Fantasy Critic did update it. That's why I was able to drop it. But I am really excited for that. I think it'll be really cool. I'm kind of glad it got deleted next year. Me too. I'm sure it has a lot of implications that are not good for other people, but for me, I'm glad it got delayed so that I can focus on other things. But
I'm glad it got delayed, and I'm glad that there's going to be layoffs. I just love when those bad things happen in this industry.
It's so fun.
Is Aphelion still coming out this year?
I don't think that ever was supposed to come out this year.
I'm sorry. What was the name?
Aphelion. I think it's Aphelion.
I've seen it both ways. I've seen some people like in certain circles say it's supposed to be like you pronounce the P like a hard P, and then some people say it's like the PH like F sound.
Somebody spell it. I don't know this game.
Aphelion.
It's from Don't Nod, I think.
Yeah, Don't Nod and like the European Space Agency.
Oh yeah. Yep. It's all coming back to me. Yep.
I showed it in an Xbox showcase, I think.
That's right. That
sounds right.
You're wrong. But I remember we reacted that together, and you thought it was very interesting.
We did. We reacted to it, and then there was Discord in the Discord about how you say the fucking title.
Oh yeah.
Quickest way to get me uninterested in a game is people fighting about what it's called.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anything else out there that is just lingering as like maybe there is like some potential? I don't.
There's a couple of indie games that I don't think will crack the top for me, but they have potential. I really am excited for Usual, which is a game that is following a female protagonist, and like it's just like it looks kind of hand painted, like think Spider-Man. Why is the rest of the name of the Spider-Man movie escaping me? Oh god, Spider-Verse movies can have. It's like a mystery set in this spooky looking town. And it doesn't have an exact date. It just says 2025 still, but I'm really excited for that, which is why I put it on my Fantasy Critic list. Another game that is coming out that is right up my alley, but probably won't crack the top is The Lonesome Guild, which is actually also, I believe, from Don't Nod. But it is like a creature collector type game.
Is that the one with the little light looking guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That comes out in October. But other than that, honestly, basically covered everything that is on my radar as like I could see myself ranking highly. There's a couple things that like are lingering lower on my list that I haven't necessarily finished yet that I think will rise as I actually finish them. Because I'm always hesitant. Like I will rank games if I haven't finished them, but I don't know the full impact of the game until I actually roll credits sometimes, like where I will replace. But yeah.
You very briefly, I couldn't help but smile, Kayla, when you said October. You went very southern for like one syllable. It was very funny.
Oh,
I loved it.
Let it
Wolf
show.
Among Us 2, is that game dead, do we think?
I think
I mean,
so,
not
yeah.
dead, but like, how have we still not heard what's a fucking date for that game? You know?
I mean, if Silksong existed until now, then that game has a chance, brother.
You know what?
Just
I
hold
would
on
say
hope.
yeah.
That's
fair.
That is very good, Cog. Ryan Selvey in the chat.
One that I forgot. Sorry.
So I was just gonna say Gloomy Eyes. I've not heard of Gloomy Eyes. Any Gloomy Eyes?
I just looked it up. I want to play that.
Yeah,
I want to play that.
I'm gonna pull the car over real quick and pull up some B-roll.
Cozy horror self-co-op adventure about two unlikely souls who forge a forbidden bond and journey together to find the sun. Explore an eerie yet charming Tim Burton-esque levels. Switch between two unique characters. Oh, self-co-op, I guess. Like, it is co-op, but you can just, like, do it yourself, I guess? Which is that all co-ops? I don't know. Maybe not.
Gloomy and Nina.
Solve brain-teasing puzzles. This looks really fun.
I'm so fucking locked in on this. And it comes out next week.
What?
Oh, yeah.
September 12th, according... Yeah, this trailer came out yesterday, so it's coming out next week. Ryan Selvey, my king.
Oh,
wow. I want to play this.
Oh, yeah.
This looks so fun. Puzzles? Tim Burton?
Tim Burton, fucking Psychonauts ass looking shit, all in.
Yeah.
Says, yee, I did something right. Cog, what were you going to bring up?
Yeah, that Mio Memories in Orbit. I'm still very much looking forward to that one. The demo was pretty cool. I don't think I finished the demo, but again, another Metroidvania, but like really cool art style. Looking forward to see if that actually nails it or not. But I hope for it. Again,
yeah.
I'm not even gonna call that as cracking top 10, but I think it's gonna be fun.
Sure, it is a very pretty looking game.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I hope this game scores a 72 on OpenCritic because I'm in a bit of trouble right now against one Cognitive Clips. Chronos: The New Dawn really set me back after the Wheel World fumble. 2 times in a row, I've been like, my gut told me so many times drop the game, but then I talked myself into keeping it.
I think I almost picked up.
Sorry, go ahead.
I almost picked up Hirogami, and then I was like, actually, I don't know, maybe not. And then picked up something else instead, and then Hirogami only got like a few points. Like,
yeah. Hey, that's what separates first place from second place. You can't make mistakes. So at this point,
never.
I need Cog to make some fucking mistakes. High School Weekly in the chat with the highlighted message for 1,000 channel points says, would like to point out the Nerdlies posted Gloomy Eyes in the Dido Discord 2 months ago. Lol. That's too fucking bad. It didn't exist until Ryan posted about it.
Our Discord is so hopping.
It is.
So much activity, so much room for activities that it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah. One last thing I'd like to say, this is going back a little bit, but as you brought up the Discord, it reminded me, one of the fun things about the Discord, for those listening later, listening in the chat now that aren't joined, if you go to dropinddropoutpod.com, join the Discord. Each episode, we have a discussion topic. We ask a question or some questions about what we're going to talk about, and then we read them on the show, and I haven't done that yet. So I want to honor Best Boy Coal Mines, who wrote in and says, as my favorite game ever, Expedition 33 is very much my game of the year by a very large margin. The story and design are just unmatched by anything else. Blueprints is second. I expected Ragebound to sneak into second place, but it really disappointed me. The next best chances, which brings in this conversation, are Silent Hill F and Kirby Air Riders. Won't actually make my list as I can't get a Switch 2 until December. As for Silksong, still a Metroidvania, so still a bad game. Got him.
Foreshadowing. For the later conversation.
Backshadowing. Yeah.
Backshadowing, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Back Shadow Air.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Oh, band.
Lego Voyager is also being thrown out in the chat.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Which one is Lego Voyagers? Is that the cozier-ish one?
You like the little
It looks
eye?
like realistic art almost.
Oh,
like
that's right. Yep.
Realism. Yeah, I'm interested in that. I'm gonna play it. That'll be fun.
I think it's
Legos,
like postmodern, maybe.
but realism.
Sure.
Not the postmodern. Not the postmodern. Can I just say?
Well, you were calling the art style Baroque earlier, and I almost took that and ran, but I didn't. So,
well, I mean, here's the thing. I got us there. I knew it wasn't a Baroque style, but by saying that, I so fucking watch it, Jordan. Folks,
I'm hearing harpsichords, man.
That's a harpsichord, right? It's like you play the piano while also playing right? Isn't this a harpsichord? Or no, what is this?
I don't even know anymore.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Where like
I don't know.
it's like you pull it in and out while you're playing the keyboard on one side. High School Weekly knows what I'm talking about. Is that a harpsichord?
That's an accordion. That's an
accordion. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, there's something else that's like an accordion, but it's not. Melodica, I think, maybe.
Maybe.
So I thought maybe I was giving you the benefit of the doubt that you knew the word accordion, but I could be wrong.
Thank you. No, I was thinking of an accordion for sure. And I forgot the word completely. Folks,
there you go.
If you're watching this later, you're listening to this later, why don't you go to the comments? Let us know what was your game of the year so far as of September 4th, 2025. Maybe it's 2029. The water wars of the globe have begun. We're all living in our own camp somewhere. There's no internet, but somehow you found this video on your satellite device that you found in a cave somewhere. But let us know, what was your game of the year in September of 2025. We will be back next week. As a disclaimer, not a disclaimer, as a heads up, we are considering not doing the episode next Thursday night, 9/11, and instead doing it Friday night, 9/12, for no patriotic reasons, but for Borderlands 4. We might be wanting to push it off and have a Borderlands 4 / co-op game discussion Friday night instead of Thursday night, since that scoundrel fucking, what's his name? The guy that runs that studio? Randy. That scoundrel Randy pushed the date up by like a week instead of 8 days. So High School Weekly. So consider joining the Discord to keep up to date on when we're going to be doing the episode next week. But before then, we'll have JK Games on Monday. We'll have Spotlight Games on Tuesday. And Jake Twitchin will be all over the internet. In fact, he's streaming right now. We're going to go rate him as I end the show and as we wave to the camera and say goodbye. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time.